Assalamualaikum to everybody. First, I would like to wish everybody all the wellness, and we pray that, and we wish that all of these things that are happening in our lives right now, our challenges that we are facing, will be soon over, inshallah. And we wish everybody in all people in different parts of this world to be okay, to be safe, to be healthy, and those who are in that very challenging condition right now. We pray that they will be able to get over, be healthy, and get back to their normal life. And again, a reminder for all of us to be always safe and follow all the guidelines that our government, our health workers are giving us, our doctors are giving us. All right, so we are now in our course, Psychology of Learning, and we're now in the fourth module, which is the Humanistic Theory of Learning in Teacher's Classroom. Again, this is Dr. Rogers Noguera. For this fourth module, our intended learning outcome is first we hope to understand, we will understand the humanistic theory in relation to the learning of children. The next one is to pinpoint the practical application of the theory in classroom learning. And the third is to identify a specific strategy related to theory that will enhance children's learning. And the fourth one is, and the last one, is to solve real classroom cases by developing practical humanistic interventions. All right. So what are the basic tenets? What are the basic humanistic what are the basic humanistic perspective in learning? All right. Humanity comes first in learning. Person comes first in learning. Children are human beings who have needs. Children needs to influence their learning. They're supposed to be in control of their own learning. Learning shapes the human life of children in different aspects. It is not only about the academic, but it involves different areas of human life, such as the emotion, the social, the spirituality, or even the ecological aspect, so on and so forth. The next is an address need can impact children's learning negatively. So if we don't address the needs of children directly or indirectly, can influence the learning of children in a negative way. The next one is learning is student centered. We know about it. We've been always talking about this in our classes. And learning is about leading the children towards becoming positive and productive adults. So we are preparing children to become positive and productive adults in the future. The next is children should be able to critique their own learning. They will be able to evaluate what's happening in their own learning. And the next one is children should be able to view life in bigger classroom, the world. So it's not only about the life happening in the classroom. So whatever happening in the classroom should always be connected. Should always be something that they will be able to carry over when they get out of the classroom. The world, the family, the community, the society that they engage with, or even the social media, the use of the social media. And last but not least, learning should not make children suffer. So take note of this. Any form, any kind of learning that is happening inside a classroom should not make children suffer. Take note of that. All right. We cannot separate children's humanity in the process of learning. We cannot set aside children's being human in the whole process of learning. They're always part of it. They're all connected. So we cannot just teach science, math, or language, separating that with what's happening in the life of children, separating that on how children would respond, bringing their humanity inside the lesson, inside what's happening in the classroom. So they have, because children have needs, aspirations, struggles, strengths, and limitations. And all of these play an important role in children's learning process. So we need to understand where the children are. We need to understand their um, their the own conditions, their life conditions. The humanistic theory of learning emphasizes that teachers have to pay attention not only to the content of the lesson, but also to the human development of young learners. It is not only about the curriculum, it's not only about the lesson planning, it's not only about the subject that you teach, it's not only about preparing your strategy, it is about looking into the needs of children, looking into the life of children. That's the curriculum, that's the way I approach learning matches the needs of children, matches the thoughts of children, matches the feelings of children. And in as much as we want the children to succeed academically, we also help children to grow as positive and productive human beings. I've been always repeating that learning should lead toward children becoming positive and productive adults in the future. So we are preparing them to respond to the real challenges in life, and that would entail a very productive way or positive way in approaching life. So we are creating a foundation for children. We're creating the human foundation for children to respond to the real challenges of life. Right. This is very interesting. In the humanistic theory, it emphasizes that we teach children how to dream. Children start to build their dreams in school. Teachers should to provide students with opportunities to imagine what they want to be in the future. So whatever we teach, children should be able to use their learning to achieve their dreams. So I make use of my lesson. I make use of my strategy so that children will be able to clarify for themselves what do I want to achieve? What do I want to see? What do I want to be in the future? What is my ambition? What is my aspiration? So therefore, teaching and learning should be meaningful and connected to the dreams of children. Okay, take note. So teaching, learning, and even assessment should be meaningful and connected to the dreams of children. So it also means that as a teacher, we should always be connected to our own dreams. As I've been always saying, we can only give what we have. How can we teach children as a teacher? How can we teach them how to dream if we teachers do not even know how to dream? So if we want them to dream, so we should always be aware of my own dream. So even if you're already a teacher, we should not stop dreaming, because it is only by dreaming that we'll be able to understand, be able to realistically transfer the process of dreaming inside the classroom. So dream. As a teacher, we also have to dream. Again, we can never ever give what we don't have. We dream so that we can teach them how to dream. So let us teach to make children's personalities shine. Okay? So we're teaching children to shine. The curriculum is supposed to help children. They are tools to make children shine in whatever direction they want to be and whatever direction they would discover. So the point is they have to shine. So in the school, we teachers help children to shape their personality. When we teach children directly or indirectly, whether it's inside the classroom or outside the classroom, we help them shape their personhood. We help them shape their values, their traits, their behavior, how they approach life, how they make decisions. For example, when we teach them math, we can help them build their self-confidence. Right? So it's not only about the math, but behind that teaching the math, we build who they are. Or when we teach science, we lead them to solve problems in the society, just like what's happening in our life right now. So, so we could have thought, for example, in teaching science, we could have taught children this thing might be happening. So, for example, a virus would spread. So, how we're going to respond to that? So, the classroom builds or creates an opportunity to look at life realistically. It's not only about the head, it's about really looking forward, looking, it's like imagining how can I probably make use of my learning to respond to the real life challenges. On the other hand, if you look at the picture here, when we embarrass children, when we teach them not to believe in their capacity and potential, and we embarrass children, they become shy, and eventually, the worst part is we destroy their dreams. And another worst part, we stop them to dream. So we teachers, we should be an instrument of the dreams of children. We should be an instrument of giving them a tool, process to make their dreams be realized, to propel them to really fight for their dreams, to work on their dreams. And we should never, ever, ever be an instrument of destroying the dreams of children. Take note of that as teachers. We don't destroy the life of children, the dreams of children. Given that basic perspective in, in the humanistic theory, let us go back to some specific contexts. So let's reflect on these. Let us answer these very basic questions as teachers of Bahrain or Bahrain teachers. Who are the children of Bahrain? If you're really interested in understanding the humanistic theory, this is the most basic question that we need to ask and we need to answer. Who are the children of Bahrain? Who are the children that I'm going to teach? What are their prerogatives? What are their needs? What are their problems? What are their concerns? What are, are their interests? As teachers of Bahrain, what do we dream for the children? What do we dream for the children of Bahrain? What are the dreams of children of Bahrain? What are the challenges which the children of Bahrain are facing right now? Okay, let us now get into very, very specific theories. I'm not going to explore all the theories. We're just going to look into the most basic and the most useful for you in terms of looking at the needs of children, trying to answer what are the what are the needs of Bahrain children? What is the life of Bahrain children? Let's start with Abraham Maslow, is an American psychologist. According to him, there's a kind of hierarchy of needs, and with this hierarchy of needs, learning can only happen if the basic needs of students, if the basic needs of children are met. Therefore, in teaching children, teachers have to pay attention to their needs. Okay, to make it um, short, in short, it's about addressing the needs of children. So learning is about addressing the needs of children. Okay, so as you see here, you see the hierarchy of needs. So according to the theory, we have to begin with addressing something that is very basic, from survival, safety, belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization. And the self-actualization is the peak, is the optimal actualization, optimal what do you call this, result of learning, that they become self-actualized people. So let's look at the different needs one by one: survival, safety, belonging, self-esteem, self-actualization. The need for survival is basically about the bodily needs, the shelter, food, water, clothes. So you just imagine if you have children who cannot afford to have a breakfast in the morning, and the child will be entering your classroom, and you're just so focused on your lesson without really understanding the dynamics of being able to have a breakfast in the morning. And how do you think the child will be able to focus on you? How the child will be able to be engaged in the classroom when the child is not nourished, it's just an empty stomach listening to you. For example, the socioeconomic condition, the child really coming from a poor family, and the struggle of, of people in a very so low socioeconomic condition, you'll be able to, I mean, to you have to really have to figure out how is this impacting the learning of children. So what I'm trying to say is that the theory is saying is that you have to address, if you really want to make learning more impactful or more beneficial to the children, just make sure that the children in front of you are, I mean, the needs of the children, the survival needs of the children in front of you are being addressed. The shelter, food, water, and clothes. The next one, the next level is the need for safety, which means the freedom from the physical and emotional threat. As for example, if you see here in the picture, if let's say if the child had been exposed to armed conflict, had been exposed to war, have been exposed to very violent environment, or a very violent community, how does that situation impact the learning of a child? How can you redeem the child inside the classroom if the society, the environment is not providing the safety that the child needs? So as a teacher, how are you going to respond to that? Okay. On the other hand, also, so you can imagine also some children have this very positive environment, the emotional and emotional need are being provided appropriately in a positive way. So what will be the consequences of these in the learning process? So again, um, when we're teaching children, so we have to understand their need for safety and how we can probably bring that, connect that whenever we teach them in their learning process, even the assessment process. Okay, I mean related to that safety, okay, the need for being safe. So we are now in a situation struggling about this COVID-19 virus. Okay, so the question is, how is this impacting the life of children in Bahrain? So even we have finished already, we're done with this challenge. We have gone over with we have survived this one. But again, how this situation would impact children when they return to their classroom in the future. Okay, so how are you going to address that? So how are you going to deal with that? Okay, it's a good question. It's a good question to reflect on. And I mean, beyond other than that, there are also other challenges that we have to be aware of, specifically in Bahrain contexts. And and the next one is the need for belonging, the need to be part of a family, of a community, of a society. The need for belonging is about being able to experience the love, the respect, and acceptance from others. Just for example, what if one or two students or three students in your classroom are coming from a divorced family? And many studies have already, you know, have already um, underscored or emphasized the negative impact of having divorced family on children. And how do they, let's say if children are coming from divorced family, how do they carry that experience inside the classroom? And whatever impact would that have on children, the question is how we teachers respond to that. Okay, so it's like um the classroom, the teacher, the learning process, the community inside the school, we are actually creating an opportunity for children. So whatever they miss outside, perhaps because of the lack of education, so we teachers, we educators, the schools are creating an opportunity to redeem the child. That even there is some kind of problem in terms of belongingness outside the school, then the school will be able to give that to the child. At least the child will be able to balance things. So it's not at all a mess in my life. There is something good happening here in the classroom with my teacher. But what if there is no sense of belonging, there is no experience of love or acceptance or respect outside the classroom, and the moment the child gets into the classroom, it's the same experience of not being able to belong, not being able to be part of the community in the school. So it's like a double jeopardy. It's double stabbing in the life of children, the double distraction in the life of children. And the next one is the need for self-esteem and recognition and approval of others. So the children would needed to experience that I am valued, I am important, I am I am a person. So the classroom experience should be able to provide that that I am as a child, I am as a child, as a student, I am valued. I get to realize that I have my own dignity as a person, that I am somebody who can contribute to the what to call this to the um, what to call this to the improvement of a society. Okay, and again, the problem again is that what if the classroom is not providing that? The family is not providing that, the society is not providing that, the social media is providing that. But the moment they get in the classroom, they also do not get that kind of attention in terms of responding to the need of self-esteem. Okay. And the last one is the self-actualization. Actually, strictly speaking, self-actualization is basically more of adults. So let's just like put this in the context of the children. So when you talk about actualization, it's so how the children will be able to realize that I have achieved something. So it's like about intellectual achievement, or becoming to recognize that I become more creative. I have I can solve problems, whether it's theoretical or it's realistic problem, and being able to reach one's potential, whatever that potential is. So each child would have its own creative view or creative potential. So as a teacher, how am I going to to make the children understand that this is my goal, this is what I need to be, this is my dream, this is how I envision my life. Okay, so at a certain extent in our classroom, in the periphery of the classroom, in the periphery of learning and teaching experience in the class. So how will my student see themselves in a more positive and productive way? All right. The humanistic theory of learning emphasizes the development of a whole person, the whole person of a child. So, what do we mean of a whole person? Let me give you this structure so that you can always recognize, so, okay, I'm really dealing with the whole person of a child. So, for example, if I am teaching the children are like this, these are the different elements that I have to look into in terms of a whole person. Am I responding to the physical needs of children? Am I responding to the emotional needs of children? Am I responding to the social needs of children? Am I responding to cognitive, communication, ecological, and spiritual? Are the children growing positively in terms, productively in terms of physical, emotional, social, cognitive, communication, ecological, spiritual? So these are the indicators on how I have to see the whole person of a child. So whether I'm teaching math, science, or language, or any kind of lesson inside a class, or any kind of activity, so I would have to look at these indicators of the whole person. Right. So one thing that is very interesting also about humanistic theory, it's very important also, is that when we create an awareness in the mind and life of children that they have to be in control of their own learning. So it's not only about me as a teacher controlling the path, controlling the learning outcome, controlling the life outcome, but the children should become more mindful that I'm in control of my own learning. So remember the video that you have watched when teacher when the teacher is leading the children to make decision, to make an important decision in their life. It's just like whether it is a wrong choice or inappropriate choice, children should be aware that okay, this is what happening. These are the consequences of my choice, of the decision that I make in life. All right, let's now go to the next one, which is the theory of Erikson's. So with there are actually eight stages. Look, Erikson looks at life in different stages. So look at the development of children in different succeeding stages, right? So it's saying that a specific stage of life, children should be able to control their life. So there are specific indicators that where children are capable of doing something, or capable of controlling a specific area of their lives. So again, as I mentioned a while ago, there are 8 stages, but I will not be mentioning the last 3 stages because it's more related to the adult. Because as a primary school teacher or even the cycle one teachers, we will be dealing more with children with age 0, 1, 0 to 12 years old. So we're just going to focus on these 4 areas of 4 stages: the trust vs mistrust, autonomy vs shame, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority. All right, let's begin with the trust versus mistrust. So, the teaching and learning process, are we are teaching children to trust, right? So this is the time that children develop trust through loving care. They develop mistrust from the lack of care. This is very much connected also to the previous theory that we have discussed. So we build trust by by creating a positive relationship. So how am I going if I'm teaching, for example, math? How am I going to create this trust? How am I going to build this value of trust in the mind and life of children, right? How can I be caring while teaching, for example, math and science? How can I build this important value in the life of children? We always have to remember children can be probably be surrounded of situation that lead the child to be to mistrust. Then how can we create an intervention to respond to that situation? Okay. And the next stage is for this is for 1 year to 3 year old. This is the autonomy versus shame. The children develop autonomy when they explore the world and they see mistake as part of learning. So take note of that. Learning mistake is part of learning. There's there's no such thing as, I mean, at a certain point as you respond to learning, you can be perfect already. So it's just a trial and error. Okay, so there's nothing wrong about mistake, and as long as it is not detrimental to life, that the mistake is not detrimental to life. So mistakes part of learning inside the classroom, and they develop shame when they do not experience the freedom to discover, and they are afraid to commit mistakes. So there's always the thought of, the teacher might scold me, they might laugh at me. Okay, so in that case, you are building more shame than autonomy. But when children begin to see that I'm doing the right thing, I might be committing mistake. If I commit mistake, then I learn from that. And if the children commit some mistake, then the teacher will guide the child in order to correct that mistake. Okay. So basically, when we're talking about autonomy, that the child will be able to to work on his own, to work on her own, and make some simple decisions in life. And if at certain point decision creates some conflict, then the child will be able to give child an opportunity to own that specific conflict in life and find a way to resolve it rather than building and building, accumulating and accumulating lots of shame, lots of embarrassments of mistake. I'm a person full of mistake. Fine, you have committed mistake, but the point is, as teachers, have you created an opportunity for children to correct that mistake? And very often in the classroom, there are some teachers who do not allow children to recognize, okay, there's a mistake, then find a way to correct it. Then that is a way to redeem the child from embarrassment or shame. And the next one is the initiative versus guilt. Children develop initiative when they start to dream and take responsibility. And guilt is a result of over controlling and over criticizing the children. Okay, so I have this was also already mentioned in the last theory. So children would start to make a decision to build their own life, to build their own dreams, to find their own goals. So in the classroom, whenever we look at the teaching and learning and even assessment process, children should be able to create some introspection, creative reflection. What is this for? How will this lesson build my dream? How will I be able to make use of this when I become an adult? How will I be able to transfer this when I have my own family, when I have my own children? How am I going to make use of this to respond to, let's say, to a lot of ecological issues? Just for example, in our situation right now, how, as an individual, can I respond or help the society to prevent or fight with this coronavirus? Okay, so and I would like also to emphasize that some teachers may also be overemphasizing, is just trying to control everything, which we can understand. We have, let's say, for example, we have 30 children. So instead of creating a one-sided approach, just like it's just about me as a teacher, it's just about what I believe in and overlooking or setting aside what the children believe in. So we might not be really creating a path for children towards realistically leading or creating a path for their own life. And the last one is the industry and versus inferiority. Here is children develop the industry when they successfully complete a task or a challenge. Inferiority is when they see their work as a failure. Okay. So we want children to experience being successful in or big way, little ways or big ways, little tasks and big tasks. That they were able to see, oh, I was able to do this. I can manage this. And on the other hand, also when children will be able to, it's like they always have the feeling and thoughts, I fail, I am a loser, I am good for nothing. So if you have children who would feel that way, for example, if I am teaching math or any kind of subject, so when I look at that and I look at myself, no, I cannot handle it. I am a failure. I am a loser. So I mean, come on, teacher. Let us look into that on what kind of damage we are bringing into the life of children. But again, on the other hand, if again we provide a space, we create a positive atmosphere in the classroom wherein children will look at their own accomplishment, little or big accomplishment, as an experience of success, then we are opening the consciousness of children, the different level of being, of feeling good that I am that I am great. I cannot be great like somebody else, but in my own experience, I know I am great. I can shine with my own little territory. Okay. All right. I've been always using the example of math because I have terrible experiences with my math teachers before because I'm not really good in math. My math is here and now. It's like after a day, it's gone. But I'm good at looking at math in a more practical way. But in terms of perceptual math or a very symbolic math, I'm not really good into that. My memory, my brain cannot just accommodate it. So now, as a teacher, so as a math teacher, for example, how will I connect math and the development of self-esteem? Because there's so many teachers who are very terror in teaching mathematics as if that's the only important thing in this world, that the math itself can actually teach the way we teach math can destroy the self-esteem of children. As a teacher, let us look into that. Let's reflect, how will I teach math that it becomes very enjoyable? It's like math is part of my life, that math is part of how am I going of a practical thing on how to respond to the problems of this world. How am I going to do that? How am I going to offer math as an enjoying thing, as an entertaining thing? So think about that. Rather than thinking of math as focusing just on yourself, without without paying attention to how the children respond to math. Okay. Okay, let's look into this very important question that you can probably reflect on. As a teacher, how will I address children's needs in my classroom? There's so many needs. Okay, I have given you the structure of whole person. So how am I going to address those different needs? The different physical needs, social needs, so on and so forth. The next one is, how will I design my classroom? Okay, that fits the needs of human beings. Right? How am I going to decorate my classroom that is very, very human, that is very evocative of the human needs of children, that is very responsive, to making the children realize this is what I want to be. And the third is, how will I support the dreams and aspirations of children? So when I look at the teaching, learning, and assessment process, how will these dynamics in the classroom support the dreams and aspirations of children? Next, as a teacher, how will I help children have a better understanding of the whole child? For example, taking care of the body, managing feelings, building a positive relationship, becoming creative and critical thinker, being able to communicate effectively, taking care of the environment, the natural environment, and believing in their strengths. How am I going to integrate this humanistic needs, this humanistic aspiration, these humanistic indicators in my teaching, learning, assessment processes? How am I going to integrate that in my math, science, language classes, or social sciences classes? All right. As always, let's work on some cases, specific cases. So we have been working on the student sign-ups needs, student sign-ups case. So how will humanistic theory respond to sign-ups need? As a teacher, as a humanistic teacher, how will you address Zainab's needs using the humanistic theory? if let's say we have 30 students in a class, right? As a teacher, how would you address the diverse needs of students? How would you address the different needs, for example, of all these students? Remember, nobody should be left behind in terms of addressing my human need, the human need. Okay, in terms of pedagogical study or pedagogical reflection, let's try to enumerate different useful teaching strategies or activities that will enhance students' personalities. So remember the video that you've watched, go back to that video and you'll be able to pick up something very, very specific there. Now, the next is, as a teacher, how do you connect the lesson to the human and personality development? How am I going to make use of the learning, teaching, and assessment process to build the human and personality of children? All right, just to end this up, so to sum up all things, as a teacher, never ever leave humanity behind. Never ever leave the humanity of the children behind. And in the same way also, never, as a teacher, never ever leave your humanity behind. Because humanity and awareness of your humanity is a mirror of your awareness of the humanity of children. The more we become mindful of our humanity, the more we become more mindful of the humanity of children. When we're working at the curriculum, so that is how we can weave our curriculum, which is creating it as a more responsive way of creating a more human, creating a humanized classroom, creating a humanized community, academic community in the school. All right. So that's all for now, and I would like to thank you for listening, and always listen to the human in you. Just always listen to the the humanity of your children. With what's happening in the world right now, in our world right now, we need to be more human to get over with this very, very challenging phenomenon. Okay, take care. God bless and be safe. Bye.